First up, many are asking if Sydney Sweeney's tits are racist, and whether they were created by German engineers in a secret plot to help build white nationalism in the country. With many on the left enraged that we aren't doing more to highlight the cleavage of minorities. While other moderately homosexual men point out that they prefer more of a 90s starvation-looking women, and would like to see more done to encourage women that they won't be going on dates with to have exposed ribs. Next, in New York City, many are concerned about jocks taking back shootings from the disgruntled nerds and giving it a new, more intriguing swagger. With the official report being that this man took so many hits to the head while playing football, he blames the NFL for creating a cool thing he couldn't handle. With others asking if the Lenny Kravitz clones are coming online. With others asking if dads should be pushing their kids into high school sports. With others pointing out that this kid probably didn't have one. But everyone can all agree that buildings need better signage so that if disgruntled madmen's show up, they at least kill the right, wrong, innocent civilians. Next, new trade deals include deporting Mexicans to the UK so that King Charles can afford to maintain his garden. With Josh Hawley working on $600 payments to Americans to ensure the tariffs are inflationary. We also take a look at the liberal outrage over deportations, saying that if we get rid of all the illegal Mexican immigrants, are we at risk of running out of life-saving organs? Now, to you, Rob.
Thank you, Anchorman. It's nice of you to invite me to my own show. Welcome, everybody. We are here today from just outside of Ghislaine Maxwell's prison cell. You know, people are wondering if she's going to flip, if she's going to spill all the dirty deets on people. And, you know, they're taking her out on a nice walk. She has the other room where she gets her massage treatments and her pamperings and her whatnots, making sure that her hair still looks nice. But, you know, I got special access to be able to broadcast from outside the prison cell. And maybe after her spa day and getting all of her little work done, her nails nice and pristine, and getting her workout in, we might be able to ask her for some of the details on this situation. All right, I don't know why I'm getting the green halo. That's, you know, that must be a problem of this environment and the nature of our very reality that the elites manifest upon us, that I can come all the way to this prison cell and actually do groundbreaking journalism of access that nobody else has. And they'll make it look like I'm in front of a green screen. I'm really here, everybody. You've never seen this halo before when I go to other environments, but that's the power of the elites, is that I worked very hard to get into this prison cell, and they're trying to fabricate it and make it look like I'm bullshitting with the green halo. Ignore the green halo. I'm really here, everybody. Anyways, you know, we do have quite a bit of news to get into today. I'm actually a little bit light on nonsense talk. You know, usually I work hard. I know you guys don't actually want to be informed on anything. You just want me to spew nonsense about what I did when I was crushing Oreos together. But I did have a fantastic weekend of porches. Thank you for everybody that came out. This upcoming weekend, I will be opening up or hosting for Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo in Boston and also in Connecticut. If you guys are in the area, that's going to be an incredible show. Come on out. Also, shout out, we had a sponsor on the Doylestown show. If you guys are looking for concrete work out in the Doylestown, PA area, hit up Chris Gall Construction. And then we're back out on porches. Minnesota's coming up again, and then it's a whole run through Tennessee. Got Florida dates coming up, got California dates coming up. Go to porchstore.com. You guys can check it out. And then, of course, we're going to be back at Pubcuz, hanging out with Max and doing the smoke out, bug out. All right, so how you guys feeling about all the drama? We got a lot of good drama this weekend coming from the Trump administration, and we're going to dig in. You know, they're talking that they're going to go after Comey. They're going to go after Obama, and it's great if you do it, but, you know, let's actually see it. Then you got the Ghislaine Maxwell storyline. Is she going to squeal? Is she a dirty rat? If they promise her immunity? Is she going to show up and spill all the dirty details on people? And if she does spill all the dirty details, is she going to wind up dead in this pretty little prison cell that she's got? And then, or I also am starting to wonder, and I don't think that this is the case, and we're going to play all of the videos, all of the recent statements by Donald Trump in regards to the Jeffrey Epstein storyline. But, you know, when they started talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, I did, because here's the thing, I've said it before. You can't bet against the Donald Trump administration. You never know when they totally change course and they make everybody look like an asshole for calling them out. And then they make the right decisions and pretend like that's what they were doing the entire time. And then they make you look like an asshole for criticizing them. So you always got to criticize them with the caveat of that Donald Trump might actually just sit down and talk to a different person than the current people that he's talking to, or he might watch a single segment on Fox News. He might read a single criticism from one Reddit person and then just completely change course and pretend like he was doing that the entire time. And I'm wondering if even though I don't think this is the case, and I'm going to play the exact video of why I don't think it's the case, but it would be the ultimate Bugs Bunny move of all time if he pretended like he was getting rid of the Epstein storyline just for everyone to get all upset. And then he goes, oh, you guys want to hear about you sure? You definitely want to hear? I'll show it to you. And then he busted the thing wide open because he found that he had his opening because everyone was going after him for him. I don't think that's what is happening. But if you want to talk about great television salesmanship of pretending like he was the heel, like he was trying to get rid of the thing, and then everyone gets all excited because they're like, hey, why are you getting rid of this thing? Are you involved in this thing? And then he's like, all right, if you really want to see what's in this thing, I'll show you what's inside this thing. CNN, you really want to know? MSNBC, you're really interested in this? Democratic Party, you really want to know what's going on here? So let's get into the episode, brought to you by YoKratom.com, home of the $60 kilo, only place in the entire world, an entire kilo of Kratom for just $60. All right, and let's bring this on. Actually, you know what? Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I want to re-import this to ensure that I did it properly with the sound, because we got a lot of videos today, and hopefully our producer man does not fuck us over. All right, so first this is from The Hill. Trump CIA chief Brennan Comey and Hillary Clinton could face indictment. And we went off about this already on the Part of the Problem podcast, where I told you, I think a lot of these people, they worked in television, they worked in radio, they mistakenly think that they are in a television show and that they need good ratings and that they need everybody watching. And so they keep engaging in this clickbait of teasing things that they're never going to do. Stay tuned until after the commercial break. And now here's the thing about the Brennan Comey and Hillary Clinton indictment. Listen, like I said, the A storylines to me of going after the criminality of government is first and foremost the Epstein storyline, then it's the Fauci storyline, and then, yes, it's great if you want to take down the political elites that did you dirty in the first election. Here is why I'm not getting that excited about this. It's because this is old news and I don't care anymore. I feel like it's as if you had, I don't know, let's go with you're a lady and you have a boyfriend and he's a reckless drunk. And you're on, off again. You dated for years. You finally broke up with the guy. And now you're single and you run into him bar 2 years later. And he tells you he's getting cleaned up. He's drinking at the bar, but he's about to get cleaned up and he wants to get back together. And you're like, I don't want to hear about that you're getting cleaned up. Either get cleaned up and come to me once you're cleaned up, or don't tell me about the fact you're getting cleaned up. And so, I mean, I followed this storyline over the course of 8 years, 12 years, calling bullshit on it. I got excited for the Durham thing. And listen, I understand. So the Republicans weren't quite in power in the same fashion. And now they're actually serious about going after it. I just don't want to hear about it. If you're going to do it, just do it. I don't want, it's enough chatter about going after these characters for the things that they did. If you're going to do it, you just got to do it. I don't want to hear any conversation about how you're going to do it. Oh yeah, we're serious about it. And they might, I'm not saying that they're not serious about it. I'm not saying that they won't do it. I don't think they will. I'm just at the point now where I don't care about teasing storylines. I want to hear what is actually happening. Are you guys also just getting furious by all the clickbait, by all the promises, by all the, it's going to trust the 40 plan, it's going to be amazing. Oh, we're going after these people. We're cleaning up the entire system. I don't care what you tell me you're doing anymore. And it just either do it or don't do it. And we'll discuss the things after the fact. The preliminary conversations about what they may or may not do, I'm good on it. All right. Next on the topic is Trump demands Kamala Harris, Beyonce, Oprah be prosecuted over 2024 campaign payouts. Totally illegal. I'm looking at large amounts of money owed by the Democrats after the presidential election. Trump began on Truth Social Saturday. These ridiculous fees were incorrectly stated in the books and records. You're not allowed to pay for an endorsement. Totally illegal to do so. Fine, fun. Once again, throw Oprah in jail. You don't think all of us wouldn't enjoy Oprah being in trouble for taking a payment and putting together a TV spectacle and pretending like it was just out of the goodness of our hearts? You want to bust Oprah for being a shill? Wonderful. You want to bust the other celebrities that showed up and took a paycheck to piss off an entire stadium of people by not performing a song and just waving hello and pretending like they cared about Kamala Harris? Fine. But once again, I don't need, I understand. I'm following this like it's a TV show, but like do things. It doesn't help us to just tell us that you're going to do things. And now for on the topic of was Donald Trump just kind of goading us all in? Was he playing possum in a way? Was he getting us all excited that he was brushing this Epstein storyline under the rug to get everyone really hook, line, and sinkered into the storyline to bust it wide open? Well, if anyone thinks that that's what's happening here, and listen, like I said, you never know with Donald Trump. Let's give this one a play because it does feel like doth do protest too much. Let's give it a listen.
You have said that you have not been briefed on the Epstein files.
Oh, and let me know if I have sound.
Or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name is...
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony.
There you go. He's just covering himself from all basis of, hey, if there was anything in there that was about me, they would have gone after me and you would have heard about it. So I assure you, this has nothing to do with me. But on the same note, if for some reason I do appear in there, remember that these are the guys that lied about Russiagate. And so they made up this whole thing too, and they put my name in there. Nothing to see here because the team that makes things up are the ones that ran this investigation. I'm not really running a new investigation. And I'm not too interested in it. And if for some reason my name appears, it's because they did it to you. And then at the same time, he's working a whole charade of now he's finally interested in going after these people for the whole Russia hoax thing, keeping it fresh in all of our minds of, hey, look at the way that these guys will manipulate and lie to you about investigations. Listen, I'm not saying Donald Trump's a pedophile, but it does seem like maybe his name appeared in there enough times that he doesn't want the information out there because it's just an annoying, pesky little, he was out there and he was being a fun creep. He was running a casting couch type operation where they're running these, they got the ins with the models. They got the ins with the, hey, you want to be the most beautiful lady in the whole world? And so they get to run in these social circles and he was being a fun creep. And then, Epstein, he took it a little bit too far. He pushed, it's like any drug addict. He pushed it a little bit too far. And Donald Trump's like, I can't have any part of what this Jeffrey Epstein's guy, and now his name's in it. Or it's just that he's in power now and he doesn't really want to do the deep state dirty because he doesn't want them going after him when he left office. And he likes whatever information was accumulated and the blackmail that they have on people. The point is, I think Donald Trump just is not interested in getting rid of the CIA, exposing Mossad, or exposing whoever else was involved in this operation. And so, and who knows, maybe we're all suckered by Twitter and none of this is actually interesting. And they're just doing a bad job at having transparency so that we all realize, oh, we're a bunch of dummies and there's really nothing here. But this really feels to me like this guy's not only trying to get rid of the story, but he really wants to sell us on, hey, it's the same people that lied to you about the Russia story. So if you hear about my name being involved in Jeffrey Epstein, just know that they made that up, the same as that other thing that they made up. And now this is a fun video where, people are asking Donald Trump once again about his involvement with Epstein. And, listen, don't do crimes with Donald Trump because he's the first person to throw you under the bus. And here he is going, don't talk about me. All these other guys are way worse. You should be investigating them. Who do you need me to give testimony against? I'm a dirty rat. I will prosecute every one of them. Whatever details you need on other people, I'm happy to give it. Roll the tape.
And they're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to get rid of it.
What are you hoping Todd Lance gets out of his meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, I don't know about the meeting. I know it's taking place, and he's a fantastic man. He's a great attorney, and people should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
There you go. Nothing to see here. No reason to talk about me. But here's the list of people that you should go after. And here's another clip of Donald Trump talking about Ghislaine and the Epstein story. Like I said, we're getting a total recap on all the latest of what's going on in this storyline. Roll the clip, producer man.
You should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard.
Oh, that might be the exact same video from another angle.
You should focus.
You get two angles of it. All right, and now here we have Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, and here's what's interesting about what the lawyer has to say. First and foremost, they're trying to appeal to the Supreme Court, and it's similar to what Cosby got off for. So if you guys remember, Cosby was thrown into jail. I think he raped about 60 women, and he was finally prosecuted. I don't think anyone thinks that Cosby wasn't guilty of committing those crimes, but it turned out that Cosby had immunity from those crimes because at an earlier juncture in time, he had sat down with the prosecutor. He was promised for immunity if I guess he gave the details on some of the things that had transpired. That deal was not honored. And then after he sat in jail for a couple of years, they won the lawsuit, not that he wasn't guilty of the crimes, but that he wasn't allowed to be prosecuted for it because of an immunity plea deal or something along those lines that he had previously received from a prosecutor. And apparently that's the Ghislaine Maxwell defense that they're sitting on at the moment. I think it's twofold, is that one, this is the lawyer, by the way, that Donald Trump was complimenting as being a great guy. But for one, he's looking for some relief. And two, I think they're willing to expose the storyline, which probably just means cut a deal with Trump and be like, yeah, he had nothing to do with this. And there wasn't that big of a deal here. And I was wrongfully prosecuted, blah, blah, blah. My guess is she's not naming the names of the elites and showing up to actually give a testimony against them. But amidst all the storyline of whether or not she's going to show up and actually spill all the dirty details for everybody and cut a deal, there's still a chance that this lady gets out of jail because this guy claims that the Epstein deal that was originally reached to not be prosecuted included that co-conspirators would be left out of any previous prosecutions. And shame on our government for not honoring its deals. It's important that our government honor its deals. Even, I understand the argument, but we'll see if they get let off. Along those lines, there was a similar deal that was reached with JP Morgan. I'm sorry, not actually JP Morgan, like as in the bank, that the bank had to pay a settlement to the victims of Epstein. It was a pretty large sum of money, and included in that deal was that no co-conspirators such as like Bill Gates or other named individuals. Fact check me on this, everybody. I don't need to be hit with some defamation suit off of some headline that I read 3 years ago that I'm piecing together live on air. So I might have the details on this wrong, but I'm fairly certain that Chase Bank had to pay a fine for basically there were a lot of moments with Epstein where he was doing withdrawals or engaging in other financial activities that I guess should have been flagged by Chase as being suspect. And so they were sued for basically facilitating Epstein's criminal enterprise. I'm putting this together in my head based off of old things that I had read. And I believe as a part of their plea, probably no fault deal where they paid a very large sum of money to the victims of Epstein that had sued them, there was an agreement that no other individuals would be gone after for this. All right. And so anyways, with all that long introduction of what might be completely factually inaccurate, roll the tape, producer man.
She deserves that promise, and I'm surprised. I don't think President Trump knows that the Justice Department took the position that that promise should not be upheld. President Trump is the ultimate deal maker. He knows that a promise made on behalf of the government should bind the government, and so we're hoping the Supreme Court agrees with us that when the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida promised that no potential co-conspirators would be prosecuted, that bound the Southern District of New York as well. Are you hoping for a new deal here? I'm sorry? They asked about every possible thing you could imagine, everything.
Are you hoping for a new deal as a result of this?
I'm sorry?
Are you hoping?
So one of the things that he claimed was that she sat down for hours of testimony, did not once plead the fifth, and spilled all the beans. Whatever they asked, she was happy to answer. But then there was, this was reported today. Summary, denied. A House committee has denied Ghislaine Maxwell request for immunity in exchange for her testimony about Jeffrey Epstein. So essentially, the lawyer said, listen, we'll show up and we'll give you guys all the details, but we want immunity. And at least at the moment, it's either that the House committee doesn't want those details made available, so they won't give her the immunity, or they have the feeling like, hey, listen, you were involved in some real bad shit here. We're not letting you off the hook unless, you got to come to us first. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg game. You got to come to us first. You got to tell us what you know. You got to tell us who you're going to take down. And if you're going to take down those people, maybe we'll agree to an agreement. But we're not giving you an agreement just on the basis that you're going to show up and then maybe not answer a single question or not actually give us anything juicy. And then you've got the legal team being like, dude, you killed Jeffrey in jail. This lady's in jail. She can't give you honest testimony while she's in jail. You got to move her out of this fancy jail cell. You got to put her someplace nice. She needs her security staff, and she needs a promise of the fact that she's totally let off the hook. And if you give us all that, then we probably still won't give you any juicy information, but at least the elites can go home and sleep pretty and know that, what do you know, Donald Trump wasn't a part of the whole operation. All right, this is from that article that I just mentioned, and then I see the comment section's going nuts. We'll get through this topic in its entirety, and then I'll take all your comments. Miss Maxwell cannot risk further criminal exposure in a politically charged environment without formal immunity, nor is a prison setting conducive to eliciting truthful and complete testimony, Marcus wrote to Comer. The potential for leaks from such a setting creates a real security risk and undermines the integrity of the process. Overcommittee responds, Trump denies giving pardon. According to Reuters, a spokesperson for the Oversight Committee stated in an emailed response, the Oversight Committee will respond to Mrs. Maxwell's attorney soon, blah, 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 blah. So at least at the moment, it doesn't seem like anyone's looking to actually just cut a deal with Ghislaine and be like, all right, let's take down this entire racket and you can go free. What was this about? Anyone know what this was about? I can't see it from here. Oh, yeah, this was another just random article that, just talk about the way that the government wastes money. Apparently, it's claimed that the FBI was tasked with going through all of the Epstein files and flagging anytime that Donald Trump's name appears in it. And you guys can't just feed the documents into a scanner and then do a control F for the word Trump. You actually have a team of people sitting down manually reading through every single page of this and like ignore all the information. Just let us know if Trump's name appears, and then we can make a decision whether or not we actually want to put all this information out. All right. And then I think I had one more thing on this. Here's a wild storyline that I was not aware of. Now, Donald Trump in the past, when Epstein's come up, he said, yeah, he was a real creep. And sure, I partied, I discoed with him when we were both doing the fun casting couch stuff, but then he took it too far. And, you know, I had to ban him from Mar-a-Lago, and we're not friends anymore. And apparently, I was not aware of this story. Apparently, it had been out there for a long time. But Virginia Guffrey, I think that's her name. She was the lady that said that she was not suicidal and then got hit by a bus and was one of the more outspoken of the Epstein victims. Apparently, she had worked in the women's locker room at Mar-a-Lago as a teenager. Her father, who was a groundskeeper or maintenance man, had gotten her the job. And then Jeffrey Epstein was poaching the young female spa talent from Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago, which is why he got banned. And now Donald Trump seemingly is 100% aware of this. And even though that doesn't sound like any criminal indictment of Donald Trump, that sounds like, oh yeah, this guy was coming to my place of business and stealing young talent to do horrible things with them. So yes, I had to ban him. And I understand you just don't even want the affiliation with the bad storyline. But I wasn't even aware of this one. And here's Donald Trump, the audio of it, of him responding to these questions on Air Force One, and a little bit uncomfortable. Doesn't want to talk about it. Roll the tape.
We think pretty soon.
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them?
Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women. What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa.
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by.
You gotta love, by the way, taking the opportunity to get into the plug. She was taken from It's a Wonderful Spa. Wonderful. Just the guy can't not get in a plug. You got to respect that about the marketer inside of his brain, that if he mentions something, even in this context, he's going to get the plug in. Epstein, bad guy, unlike my golf course, which is a beautiful golf course. He was doing not nice things, the kind of things you can forget about if you're lounging at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is so beautiful. If you're lounging at Mar-a-Lago, you won't even remember that you trafficked kids. That's how nice Mar-a-Lago is. Anyways, he can't resist getting in a plug for his business.
Continue. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Guffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
I'm not sure. I think so. Yes, he took her. All right. I think that's everything that I have. Of course, we got the Don Bongino saying he's shocked to his core. Already discussed that I'm part of the problem. Sick of the clickbait. If you got the information, give us the information. Here's JD Vance, actually. Got to give some props to JD Vance, because this is the storyline that everyone's been trying to convey of, let's not listen to the Democrats on the shenanigans. They could have been interested in this storyline for 8 years. Or longer than that, and they had no interest in it. All of a sudden, Donald Trump's president, and they're fascinated with it. While I don't agree with what Donald Trump's doing, and I don't even agree with JD Vance's take here, I do think that the American people are interested in this storyline, and I think we have a right to more transparency, and I think that the administration should have more of an interest in cleaning up the deep state and whatever the hell this mess is. But I'll give JD Vance just style points, for giving the best pitch for, hey, shut up and let us get to work. Roll the tape.
Hi, Mr. Vice President, I'm from the Associated Press. I guess I'm going to be that person. There are some protesters outside accusing the GOP of protecting pedophiles, and we're wondering what you think are the reasons the U.S. government should shield the clientele of Epstein from the public, and what you have to say about any relevance to that here today.
Well, let me say just a couple of things. First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general to release all.
That's odd. You guys tell me we don't have any audio. Nothing changed from the last video. I made no changes. No buttons were pressed. Nothing. Are you guys messing with me in the chat right now and saying that there's no audio, or is there actually no audio? Because I hear it in my cans. Let me press play again. You guys tell me if there's no audio. Yeah, audio is way messed up. What is wrong with it? Is it doubling back? Is it too soft? Is it just not there? It's fucked in the source probably. It's low and garbled. All right, give me a second. Let's press play again. Tell me, guys, if it sounds all right.
First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general.
Yeah, it's the source, the way that this was recorded. It's not his actual mic feed, so there is graininess in the background, but it's there.
Release all credible information, and frankly, to go and find additional credible information related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. He's been incredibly transparent about that stuff. Some of that stuff takes time. You gotta assemble that stuff. You gotta compile that stuff. You gotta protect the victims' names so you protect the victims. But the president has been very clear. He wants full transparency. He's asked that from the attorney general, and I know because I talk to her all the time. The attorney general's working on that issue right now. And I think I gotta make an observation. There's an interesting thing about this case that the American media seems to do. For 4 years, under Joe Biden's Department of Justice, the media didn't give a damn about the Epstein files or about the Epstein case. For literally 20 years, the story about this scumbag, and he is a scumbag.
All right, you guys are telling me you can't understand it anyway. So the short of it is just that the administration is looking for transparency. They're looking to get it all out there. They're actually running their own investigations. And shame on the Democrats for 20 years of giving this guy a sweetheart deal and not going after him. And that suddenly the media is interested in the storyline. As for that, this Senator Tim Burchett, he's been making the rounds with great clips of clarity on this topic. Last week, I actually failed to play the clip that I'd found from him because every once in a while, this is real shady of Google Slides. They won't load a YouTube video in, and then I forgot to pull it up at the end of the episode. But here's Tim with a little bit of clarity and seems to be, at least on this topic, one of the good guys. Let's roll the clip, and then I'll take some comments, and we'll move on to the next topic.
You got the Maxwell subpoena out. Is that enough for you?
No, it's never going to be enough. This town has a history of lying and covering it up. Again, Kennedy assassination, Oswald's supposed to have shot Kennedy from the front and the back. They found basically a bullet with a lead jacket that's unscathed on a gurney in a hospital, and nobody asked questions about this over 60 years ago. This town has a history of lying, and I just want to get to the bottom of it. That's all I want, and that's why I want to call her in. I think it's a good start.
Hey, what about the speaker sending everybody home rather than having a vote?
Well, I guess we're getting tired of these 2-hour work weeks up here. That's all we've ever done. The Democrats in power, we're in power. I'm sick of it. I came here to work. That old Democrat speaker in the House, Jimmy Nafee, told me one time, he said, Tim, you don't want to work, you shouldn't have hired on. And we got to work, man. We got all those Doge cuts and everything else. I'm sick of it. And I know it's part of the system. We go home every August. We did it under Pelosi, and it's just followed and just back and forth. So I'm ready to. Let's stay here and do some work.
You sound pretty frustrated with the speaker here.
I'm frustrated with everybody, brother. It ain't just the speaker. It's just the system. We got to work. We're going to lose our dadgum country. We're $36 trillion in debt. We got all this stuff going on. We're headed home. Yeah, I'd love to go home. I'm grateful to see my wife and daughter, but dadgum it. let's get to work. America's ticked off, and they should be.
Do you think the speaker's trying to bury the Epstein files?
No, I just the president, I think, got off on a good start here this week over the.
Is this one playing well? Because this guy's he's killing it right now. Are you guys able to hear this?
Grand jury, the grand jury stuff. I think that's a great start. And honestly, I want to protect the innocent. I want to protect the 1,000 little girls that got raped and abused, and I want to protect the people that flew on these planes unsuspecting, and maybe they didn't go to the island or whatever. And I think you got to have some way to filter that out. But other than that, send them all to hell. I'm over it. Those people are the biggest lowlifes in the world. Look, I've held the hand of people. I've said this many times. It's not just bluster. I've held the hand of people that have been abused and molested. And
gotta respect that. Send them all to hell. All right, let's take a couple of the comments. Once again, thank you to yokratom.com, home of the $6 kilo, for sponsoring the show. And of course, sheathunderwear.com. Guys, it's the hot summer months. And let me tell you, you don't want to be out in the summer with a ball sweat just dripping down your legs, all swampy-assed, with your legs just mushing together and feeling your fat thighs. What you want is Sheath underwear, and the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man, that's going to keep everything cool, calm, and collected. So if you're out there in the hot, sweaty summer months, you guys, you got your factory jobs, you got your manufacturing jobs, you're your truck drivers, you're out there, you're doing good, honest American work. And if you want to be able to do good, honest American work, I recommend Sheaths for your summer. Use promo code RYM and get yourself 20% off the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man. And they are a high-quality product. I've got pairs from 3 years ago. They don't tear. They don't rip. They hold up. Sheathunderwear.com. All right, let's take a couple of comments. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's start with, well, good night. At Robbie the Fire, I would love to know your thoughts. I think that the media is acting like they deserve transparency on the Epstein thing, but do they? Maybe we'll mess up the case to release. I'm calling bullshit. They always say, hey, this is a danger to the victims, or we won't be able to move forward with our case. If anything, I think public outrage over something seems to make it more likely that you end up with an actual prosecution. I think the George Floyd thing would probably be a good example over that. I don't believe for 1 second that they're behind closed doors and they're actually building an Epstein case and they're looking to go after people, and releasing information will get in the way of a prosecution. Now, I'm sure you got lawyers out in the world who will say that's not the way it works. That's not the way the Justice Departments work. That's not. How many times, though, have I heard, because of ongoing investigations, I can't comment? That just seems like it's the textbook case for why they're not allowed to ever give us any information in any capacity, is because, oh, they're even more concerned with this than you are. But because of an ongoing investigation, we can't possibly give any of the information. I don't buy it. Mars, hey, Robbie, can you at least agree that covering for a foreign intel agency is by any and every definition treason? I just hate this quick. Can you at least agree? I mean, I'm not saying I like the Epstein thing. Have I sat down and done an academic study on the definition of treason? And does this meet the I don't know. Go listen to another show. That's what other people do over there. It seems like a trick got me question. I'm all for going after Jeffrey Epstein, all the individuals, cleaning up the deep state and letting us know what's going on, and if the politicians are beholden to these people. But in terms of your academic, will you at least take a stand and agree to this particular statement and the exact words that I put it in? On the spot, go. We can debate the specifics, whether they are not, but that is an act of treason. All right, fine. I don't know. I don't like the fact that it's treason or not treason. I don't like it, and it shouldn't be happening. And yes, it's bad news if our intelligence agency, or if another intelligence agency, is blackmailing politicians and ensuring that their agenda continues. I don't think it necessarily matters if it's a foreign government or even if it's an apparatus within our own government that's not serving the public interest, but is serving their particular interest. I don't know. Your question's just too academic for me. It's all bad, and I think that, we should get rid of things that are bad. How's that for a really dumb answer? I don't like bad things, and I think that this is bad stuff, so we should get rid of the bad stuff. That's my level of intelligence and clarity. If you want answers on whether or not Israel specifically a genocide, I don't know. I don't like what they're doing. I can tell you that. Scott, Robbie, I'm watching the latest episode of PATP. Just got a full episode advertisement for Ben Shapiro on your guys' show. Madness. I'm curious. I mean, that's not my lane at all. But there was a time in which I was handling the advertising, and at one point there was a dynamic insertion ad read for the COVID vaccine in which I had to call the company and let them know. And then we had to like get rid of all regional dynamic insertion ads because you couldn't do those by category. And I was just like, yeah, we're not like a part of me just think it's funny because it's like it's wasted money by those advertisers. So I guess you're just taking money from them for no reason if you're trying to run an advertisement for the vaccine that's then followed by an hour of programming of us telling you why. Like that's almost more their fault than it is the show's fault because it's just wasted money. But I think that that's stupid. They should probably pull that out of the show, and I do think it undermines some of the live reads, which are all screen products that we're actually endorsing. So I mean, but like, it's kind of funny that Ben Shapiro is wasting his advertising dollars there. But easy. You can kill this video, bro, unless there are subtitles. All right, that was that video that wasn't playing that well. All right, let's take some of the recent comments, and then let's move on with the show. Kyle Everhart, do you think there will be an administration that will be honest with us, or are we doomed to be lied to by the administration from both sides? Another very academic question of, do I think ever? I don't know. Things can change, but for the most part, I would say it's a 99% chance that we'll see more of what we've seen the entire time. Or who knows, maybe the internet brings so much transparency to these things and AI does a better job of hacking the government and putting information out there or something that in the future it's harder for them to actually lie because everything's on cameras and information's more transparent. But, you know, I would venture to guess that we will exist in an environment with more of the same. Oh, wow. People really want to know. Can I at least agree? People really want to know. I'm on Fox News today. Everyone, can you at least agree if the best case scenario of this happened, would that be so bad? Matzo balls, can you at least agree that Bridge Macron and Michelle Obama both have fat hogs? Come on, Robbie. I think Michelle Obama certainly has a fat hog. Macron's kind of like a little lady. I don't think I'd be surprised if she had a fat hog. Well, good night. At Robbie the Fire, do you think it's possible that the deep state, I mean, anything's possible? So off the bat, as you guys ask me, I'm getting grilled on the testimony stand to here. Anything's by aliens could be real. I don't know. Lizard creatures, is it possible that lizard creatures, and we're on flat earth, and that every once in a while they climb over the ice wall and they hijack a politician and they put themselves in their skin and then they enact policy that diverts more energy to the lizard people and keeps us from going over the ice wall? Because if we make it over the ice wall, then we'll escape our reality and we'll actually be living in heaven. It's just on the other side of the wall. I mean, anything's possible. At Robbie the Fire, do you think it's possible that the deep state, in quotations, is threatening the Trump administration with wild violence to cover the whole thing up? Like maybe the whole thing is way diabolical. Sure, anything's possible. All right. Let's go. Next topic. This is fun drama right here. This is some fun drama right here, everybody. So this is watching like political television that's just, this is wonderful soap opera drama right here. So you've got Donald Trump wants Powell to lower interest rates, and he's not allowed to fire him. Powell spent too much money on this renovation. He made comments in front of Congress that there was nothing luxurious about the renovations, and they kind of got their hooks in of, hey, can we apply enough pressure on him that we're going to expose the madness of the Federal Reserve spending? We're not going to look in. I already did a whole long thing about this. We're not going to look into the corruption of the existence of it. We're not going to look at the interest that it just pays to banks on deposits. We're not going to look at the entire racket of the Federal Reserve. But we've got this one storyline, and we think we might be able to squeeze him that will let the whole thing go if he just plays balls with us. Ball with us. They might be playing balls. I don't know what happens behind the camera. And so here you've got Donald Trump, and he's doing a walkthrough through the construction site and renovation. And Donald Trump's actually being a little bit fair here, where he goes, there's no reason to Monday morning quarterback. This actually is an expensive renovation of what's going on. I did a little bit of reading on this, and it's very expensive. First and foremost, I'm sure that there's just like union laws around who and what services they can hire. I'm sure that general construction is always cheaper than when the government engages in construction projects. Go audit the Pentagon and see what they spend on bullets versus what Russia's spending on bullets. This is not the first government and I'm not defending the Fed here. I'm just saying, let's go after actual corruption and do a whole study about the buildings and what contractors use their government projects and how much more they cost than if you do them as a private project. I'm sure that this is not just a problem with the Federal Reserve building. And now the reason why the Federal Reserve building apparently got so expensive is because they're doing a lot of work down in the basement. Washington, D.C. is a swamp, so they got to build like some secondary basement. They also did some underground garage for parking. I'm sure some of this also just falls into the nonsense of government that the Federal Reserve probably can't use money to just buy new property. Or I'm sure there's some sort of lunacy about that they can only expand their building. I'm pulling this out of my ass, all right? I don't actually know. Maybe the Federal Reserve messed up and it would have been cheaper to just buy the buildings around them and level them and turn them into an above ground parking garage, and that they just made a strategic error of making a very expensive underground parking garage, or they should have just knocked down the building and then expanded the building up instead of expanding it down. But I bet it's because it's some historic building and that they're stuck with the external structure and so they have to figure out how to have more space. And then, well, why not just get another building? You know, I'm sure that there's just some dumb government regulation. And I'm also certain that if we did a study on typical government building overrun costs versus the private market and private construction, I'm sure it's across the board. But they got their hooks into Jerome Powell. And here they are. They're going through their walkthrough. And Jerome Powell is not enjoying any of this, doesn't want to be on camera. Donald Trump is being reasonably fair and pretending like, hey, they're cost overruns, but this is expensive construction. But this is the funny moment of that they are trying to inflate how much the construction is by. And so they quote this new figure of, I believe, $3.2 or $3.1 trillion. And what's funny is that normally that shit would work, but Powell's actually a numbers guy. And he takes one look at the sheet and he's like, yeah, you're including the building from 5 years ago, which is a separate construction project. And then Trump's just pure boss mode of, well, that's not the way I'm looking at the numbers. So if I say the numbers this way, it's going to be this way. Let's move on. All right, roll a clip and just enjoy the drama. Enjoy the facial expressions. Enjoy what's going on behind the scenes of Powell's just getting bitched out on this walkthrough. And nobody actually cares about the building, but it's fun just poking at him and trying to apply some pressure for the lower interest rates. Let's give it a watch.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking at the construction, and we're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. Wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2. This came from.
I love just the numbers guy pulling out his glasses. Let me take a look at this. And, you know, probably with most other people in government, they're completely financial illiterate, and they would be more of a, I'll have to go back to my staff. I'll have to take a look at this. We got to call the accountants. But here, just one glance.
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work. So, so we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. Expect to be finished in 2027. We're well.
He's like, yeah, we control and print all the money. We have a little reserve. It's called the Federal Reserve. And don't worry. I mean, we fictionally send money to the banks all the time. Don't worry about our basement. But I love the drama, the little petty back and forth. And Trump should just go full Darth helmet and wear hats like that all the time. I would say it's more fun. All right, let's take a look at some other Trump news. And I got to pee, so we might fly through the rest of the show. Matzo balls. Man, Rob, anything is a fat hog when one is working with just a light switch. I'm sorry, sir. Fuck, I wish I could be in Boston for you in Tripoli. That's a fucking dream right there. It's going to be a fun show. Especially a couple years ago, I did kind of like a live pod with Sam where he does an unscripted like comedy thing and kind of talks about AA, self-help. It was fascinating. And then I went up for the second half hour and I kept tricking the audience and just ranting about conspiracies that weren't real. And it was just so fun having them in the palm of my hand. We're like, wait, the pyramids were actually built by Nazis and that they're underground. And it was a fun time. It was one of the funnest live shows I have. So hopefully we do that again. I don't know if he's doing that again, but it was a good time. Trump reduces Russia deadline to end Ukraine invasion to 10 to 12 days from original 50. No reason to wait that long. So there you have it. Trump admitting that his own 50-day, he just got impatient. It was 50 sounded like a good number. And then it was a week later and he was like, yeah, there's no reason to go with that number. All right, now let's take a look at the latest from Donald Trump's trade deals. So it was reported that he worked out a deal with the EU, and it's reported that that's a signed deal. I've also read that actually has to go back to the parliaments of EU or something, and they'll never agree to it. We're also going to take a look in a second, but apparently their pledges to buy energy are unrealistic. We are coming to the end of the 90-day trade deal deadline. Fact check me on this, but I think it's August 1st. And so here are all the countries at the moment that we don't have a deal with: China, Mexico, Canada, South Korea, Taiwan, India, Brazil, Switzerland, and Thailand, which I guess means that they automatically jump to tariff levels that look like they're around 25 to 30%. But at least at the moment, these deals are not finalized. Now, as for the deals that are finalized, and who knows, like I said, don't bet against Donald Trump. Who the hell knows? If you guys really want the insights on all these trade agreements, you can go listen to the episode I did with David Stockman in the second half of the show. It's the latest one from Zero Hedge. We went in deep on why these tariffs are bad. And the real short of it is that they're just going to drive up prices and not bring back manufacturing. And the reason that we don't have manufacturing is because of the government spending, low interest rates in the Fed. And so none of this helps. And if you guys want more of the actual details, you can go listen to it from him because he actually has a handle on it. And we'll see how some of this stuff actually plays out. But one of the big claims was that Donald Trump basically has this $550 billion that's going to come to him from Japan, and that he will then be able to use that for direct investments. And so I was just curious on the likelihood of the money actually being received, and if it's going to be received at that split, and also if that's just something that Donald Trump is saying was agreed to, or whether or not it's actually a fine and sealed deal. And so at least this is from Twitter Gronk. You guys can take it or leave it. But first is the deal lacks formal written agreements, and Japan disputes the profit-sharing terms, calling the $550 billion a maximum target. Private Japanese firms, not the government, will decide investments, potentially prioritizing their own interest. So while it's claimed on the $550 billion at the 90% split, that might just be another Donald Trump, grandiose of the best case scenario. And, sometimes he has ADD and he just moves on. So you agree to it. He moves on to the next thing. And then, not as clean on the execution. But like I said, we'll see how that one plays out. I did think that this was funny. And I don't normally read Yahoo Finance, but just in digging into what was actually agreed to and whether or not it was written down, let's give this one a read. Trump-Japan's investment vehicle could become trade talk template, even if nobody is sure what it is. And isn't that great? We have a great deal, so I'm told. Nobody knows how it works or if it was agreed to, but hopefully we can get more great deals exactly like this one that nobody knows what it is. It's all worked out. We've got a perfect deal with Japan. Nobody can tell you what the deal is, but hopefully we can recreate the thing. Talk about faith in Donald Trump is we don't know any of the details, but hopefully we can duplicate this deal, even though none of us actually knows what it is. Trump's Japan investment vehicle could become trade talk template, even though nobody is sure what it is. Let's continue. A closely watched piece of trade deal announcement with Japan this past week is a plan for new Japanese USA investment vehicle that Trump and his team said will put $550 billion aside for the president to personally pour into finance new investments in the U.S. And we're expanding Mar-a-Lago. We need a strategic reserve of my cryptocurrency. We'll see where it actually goes. We'll see how it gets used. We'll see if we even get the money. You know, you can't hop on these things too early. We'll find out in 9 years from now. Observers are watching this unusual provision closely amid growing expectation it will serve as a template of sorts for remaining trade talks, even as conflicts grow over exactly what was agreed to. I don't even have the jokes. That's the news. The news is we're hoping we can duplicate this thing and we don't know what it is. Wonderful. Great analysis here. Thanks for keeping us informed on what's happening. All right. And then this was in regards to what's going on with the EU. This is from the Wall Street Journal. So maybe it's and I don't remember what was said here. So we'll just have to read what I highlighted and go from there. The terms disclosed Sunday suggest that 15% is likely a new tariff minimum level for most U.S. trading partners. Economists and trade analysis say tariffs at that level will have an effect on companies' decisions and are expected to contribute to higher prices for Americans, but won't stop global trade flows. All right. So in other words, 15% isn't high enough tariffs that we won't be able to import things, or that you will see empty shelves, but you will see a small or an increase in pricing. All right. While most don't want tariffs to rise at all, they would prefer a steady 15% tariff compared with a lower rate that is less predictable. Neither side published the text of their agreement on Sunday. Although both the president said the EU baseline tariff would be 15%, they appear to have different interpretations on some of the details. Trump indicated in comments to the media that his global steel and aluminum tariffs would still be 50% and would remain unchanged. So it sounds like on the EU deal, although it's reported as being done, I guess people don't quite have the details yet. Trump also said the EU had agreed to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. Von der Leyen said the two had agreed to zero for zero tariffs for certain strategic products, including aircrafts and their parts, certain chemicals, semiconductors, equipment, and certain agricultural products, among others, and said two sides would work to add more products to that list. She said the EU would give American companies better access to the bloc's market. The deal provides a framework to further lower tariffs on more products, address non-tariff barriers, and cooperate on economic security, something. Where was the interesting? Oh, yeah, this was the line. I could have just jumped to this line. We have the opening up of all the European countries, which I think we could say were essentially closed. The key statement there is essentially closed. I've worked in sales, and every single time another sales guy came back and said, it's basically a done deal. It's basically, no, you can count that as budget. It's basically a done deal. And if you count that money as budget, you are fucked up your ass. I'll just tell you that. I've experienced it 20 times in my sales career of, the meeting is, and, companies trying to figure out what their budget is, what happened for sales. And you got salespeople are trying to look cool and good at the meeting. Oh, no, it's closed. Yeah. Do you have a signed agreement? No, but it's closed. Yeah, you're not getting that money in. But here you have Trump saying essentially closed. Details on Trump's other trade deals have also been scant. The administration has released no documentation for deals it claims to have reached with the Philippines or Japan, and details released of the Indonesia deal last week remain incomplete. The UK's framework released on May also left the big terms unresolved, like steel tariff levels. So there you go. You guys are all up to date on the tariffs and trade deals, which is nobody actually has the details. On that note, this was reported from Zero Hedge, and I've already read too many articles out loud. I think that's boring. You guys can go look this one up. Beyond realistic, why Europe's pledge to buy $750 billion in U.S. energy is mathematically impossible, because apparently unless you drive up energy prices considerably, we don't have $750 billion of available energy to export unless we stop exporting to the other locations, or I guess these people just agree to pay for it at inflated prices. All right, I think let's call it an episode there. I think that's enough episode for one episode. I will delve in. I will take a couple comments, and then I don't know. Maybe we'll finally do a bonus episode of the end of show topics that I did not get to. All right, everybody. Like I said, opening for Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo. Probably just doing like a short set, 10 or 15 minutes up top, if I had to guess. Maybe getting back on stage for a live podcast. I don't know. I'm excited to hang out with Tripoli. Never met Eddie Bravo. I'm sure he's a good hang as well. And those guys, I've never seen Eddie Bravo's comedy. Sam Tripoli is incredible. Eddie's a funny dude, so I'm sure it's great. So anyways, if you're out in those areas, come hang out. And then, of course, you got porchtour.com for all the upcoming porches. Kyle Everhart, Robbie, can't you at least agree? Is this going to be the rest of my life? Is people in the comments ask me if I can at least agree something, that it's possible to tell us that one superpower you would pick if given the opportunity? I don't know. All right, mystery box. Fun facts. Trump's right-hand man, Lutnick, was next-door neighbors with Epstein in New York City. That is fun facts. That makes for a fun little sitcom. Epstein's neighbor. It's like, is Epstein the Kramer or was Lutnick the Kramer there? Junior, some Tripoli and Eddie Bravo are great. There you go. And Chris Stubbs letting us know at the end wire that we should stop data centers. All right, that's our episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you, YoKratom.com. Thank you, sheathunderwear.com. Go to porchtour.com for all the dates and come see me with in Boston this weekend.